Hello. Okay. Crime data, as reported to the FBI, is available for anybody to view, download, and analyze, and so on. So here's this page that has 2017 crime data, and there are data is available at different levels of granularity. And so crime data is reported using the UCR system, and uh, this system is used by law enforcement officers around the country to uh, report on crime known to them. And so this data is available either from city agencies such as police departments in cities, or could be county agencies like sheriff's office, or could be from campus police. So we have data from multiple law enforcement agencies reported here. And this data can be, you can simply download the data, so you can look at either all the offenses reported by any agency, and or you can look at the number of employees each agency has. Say, let's take a look at the offense data by city agencies, and this would take us to um, okay, here you go, table 8, and you click on that. This would redirect it redirect us to page where we can look at offenses as reported by agencies in different states. And so we can look at any one state, let's say Illinois. So you have the data shown right here. Now, of course, this is we can view it on screen, or you can download the Excel file. That's good. And also, this for all the states combined, we can download this data. So if you go to download Excel, and it creates um, okay, all right. So you can download this data to your hard drive and take a look at it. Okay, here it is. So here's the data, and this is grouped by state, and within each state you have city, and for each city they report what the population was, what the total number of violent crime was. Violent crime is basically a um, sum of um, murder, rape, robbery, and assault. So that combined together is like 25. And property crime is made up of burglary, larceny, motor vehicle theft, and arson. So these numbers are available for each state and each city. And so this data, if you want to do some analysis, you'll probably have to bring it to a data analysis environment. Now, this is not the perfect kind of format for doing data analysis. So you need to do some normalizing of this data. And after having normalized the data, I brought it down to a database system. And let me show you where it is. Okay. Mm, okay. So we got city offenses 2017. So the same data has now been brought down to MS Access, and we got once this data is brought down, we can do some sorting and filtering and all that much easier. Similarly, for each agency that is reporting, they also have number of employees in that agency. For Alabama's Adamsville Police Department has 33 employees, 20 of them are officers and 13 civilians, and so on. So it's got nearly 9,000 records like this. All right. So then what I did was to combine these two, and also calculated some additional variables. So we got population, violent crime total, property crime, all crimes, simply a combination of property crime and violent crime. And then violent crime rate, which is basically total number of violent crime divided by population times 1000. So that's 5.76 violent crime per 1000 population in Adamsville, Alabama. And then similarly, property crime. And so I got all this data, right? So this is all done in Access. Now, Access is good for managing data, but not the best environment for doing analysis. So the same data, I could bring it to Excel. And so here it is. Okay, so in Excel, this is set up as a table. And so table has this little drop down things here. You can pick and filter, and you can sort and all that. That's really convenient. And so each state there are, so this one has 7,640. There are some records with zero numbers in it, so they got dropped. And so we got data on crimes. You got property crime rate, population group, total crime divided by population is that much. And all right, so we got total crime rate, and so we got data all. We did some additional calculations, and then the total crime rate, by itself, I wanted to convert that to a 0 to 1 scale. So I used a log transformation to take. So this log of total crime rate plus one converts this to a log, um, reduces the skewness. And after having converted it, I normalized it so that the highest value gets a value 1 and the lowest value gets a value 0. And so I did that for all the uh, agencies. And similarly, also calculated something called police adequacy, which essentially we define it as number of crimes divided by number of employees in the police department. So the smaller the number, we could say maybe safer the city is. I'm not too sure about that, but that's what we did. Then we also transformed police adequacy using a log transformation, and then normalized it so that the value of normalized police adequacy score is between 0 and 1. And then to calculate a score for each city, I simply added normalized police adequacy and normalized total crime rate and come up with the total score. Okay, now once you got the score, and this is all in Excel sheet, and now what I can do is I can create pivot tables. So here we go. And one of the pivot tables I've done is okay, so you can do ranking by score state. So this is the total score, and we can pick any state. Let's pick Kentucky, and then there are different groups of cities, and group 6 is the smallest group of cities. I can combine group 4, 5, and 6, and then look at those cities in Kentucky that are in groups 4, 5, or 6, and then they are ordered in ascending order of score and giving us some sort of a comparison. Okay, these are not strictly ranking, but this is simply ordering of the score based on our calculations. That is based on the calculations. And so this pivot table system allows us to pick any state, or I can pick all states, and also I can pick only one group of let's say group 5, and then look at all the cities that have that are in group 5, and then look at all the ranks in that group 5. So pivot table is a pretty cool tool in Excel, and it lets you do quick analysis and sorting, filtering, and grouping, and so on. Okay, and then another pivot table here simply lets you group. It shows by each state. I can pick a group, group 1, and then tells me what cities are in each state and what ranks they got. Okay, so that's how it is. And so this resulting listing can be useful to somebody who is looking to see if what the scores are for each city, and which city has high and which city has low, and so on. All right, so this was the um, cities crime data. Okay, now we have something similar also that uses not city crime data, but crime data as reported by kind of college campuses. Okay, so going back here, and okay, so universities and colleges. So these are so university universities and colleges have their own campus police, and so the data as reported by this campus police is available here. And so let's take a look at the data set is smaller than what we had for cities, but it is still pretty detailed, and meaning like we got different kinds of offenses and so on. So I can download the Excel file, which looks like that. Okay, here you go. And again, the format is sort of similar. We have state grouped, then we have city and which campus it is, because some universities have multiple campuses. For each campus, it reports how many students are enrolled, and then how many violent crime incidents are reported, how many property crime incidents are reported. So we got all this data for each most universities, and I think this is about 700 something universities. Okay, yeah, 660, 600 plus universities. So we got similarly, we also have data from data about employment in these university police departments. So that information, along with this information, can be brought down to your desktop and in Excel. Then once you got it in Excel, we can then um, do the magic and bring the data into a database. So that's what I did. Okay, let me see if we can pull up the. Um, okay, should be in the same database file. So in the same database file, I have campus employees data and then campus offenses data. And then based on that, I combined these two tables, and then I got campus crime numbers data. So we got students, violent crime, and also number of law enforcement employees. And for this time it came down to 513 records, because not all campuses have all the numbers needed. So some of them got dropped out. All right, so now we got this data. Then I took it into Excel, and then similarly did just like I did with the cities data, I did pivot tables on campus crime data. And let me see if I can pull it up. Uh, One minute. Okay, here you go. So here's campus crime statistics, and so the original data set is right here. So this is what I got from originally gotten from the FBI website, and then into after doing some transformation, and I got the data similar to the city offense data. I calculate a score for each campus, and this number could be a number between 0 and 2, and so smaller, closer to 0, you can say that has less crime than the numbers that are closer to 1, closer to 2. All right, so we got this, and then I did a ranks by group, so I can pick every state here and all states, and then pick a particular group of small universities, and or I can pick medium-sized universities or large universities. If we pick large universities, okay, so these are the numbers for. I can pick all universities by clubbing all the groups together, and it automatically does a sorting. and based on the score. So and you can look at each state separately by going to each state here, and these are the for all the state, all the university in Alabama, and these are the numbers. And let's go to Texas, has lots of schools. Go. Okay, so there you are. So these are the numbers. These are the like score based on crime data as reported by the campus police from Texas. And then after having calculated the score, we used Excel to do this sorting and ordering and also the ranking. So that's how it is. And hope you found it useful. And let me know if you have any questions. If you have any questions, you can write a comment here, and I will get back to you eventually. Thanks.